Hi everybody, it's Tasso. When you want to make a rather big change in your life, like quitting your job and pursuing your dream, or like getting married, you find yourself standing at an abyss, at a gap. And what ends up happening is that you try to gather as much information as you can in order to fill that gap and to feel more comfortable in moving forward. Now, no matter how much information you gather, no matter what you do, you will never feel comfortable, and you will always feel that you're 80% there. You need a little bit more here and there. Have you ever experienced this? I certainly have, and I can tell you, when looking back at these situations, I figured out one thing that I wanted to share with you. The reason why you cannot close that gap with information is because that gap is not held open by the lack of information. It is held open by your self-limiting beliefs, your self-doubts, and your fears. And that's why people always say, at some point of time, you just have to jump. You have to take that leap of faith and just move forward without knowing everything. But how do you do that? How can you possibly make that step? In this post, I want to share with you 3 things that are the basis, I believe, to making such a step. Number one is buddy up with your mind. In a previous post, I told you that the nagging mind, or these voices you have in your head, that are actually your friend. You can consider your mind as a bodyguard. And because a bodyguard is trained to warn you about threats, that's what he does all the time. Tells you this is danger, this is a threat, this is what you cannot do, better not do this. So instead of silencing the mind down, you do what you would do with a friend. If a friend, has a suggestion, or they have a warning or a heads up, what you would do is to reassure them, and that's what you have to do with your mind. And the way to do it, to reassure your mind, is by looking at experience you had from other areas, in the sense of, but we've done similar things. You go back to your library of experience in your life and you look at that and say, but we have done this before, it's possible, we can do this. And so you buddy up with your mind. Which leads me to point number 2, because I already can hear you, but you all don't always have experience. Like, for instance, when you are maybe new to a job and you don't have the experience to be able to step up and get the confidence you need. In this case, you tap into something much more powerful than self-confidence. In this case, you tap into courage. How do you do that? You just decide. You decide to be courageous. You decide to write that book, to marry that girl. You decide to have kids. It's all a decision. Courage is the thing that separates the high achievers from the people who are stagnant. Because, look at this. If you do something new, anything new, you will not have the confidence you need because you've never done it before. So courage is going to cover your ass in that regard. Number three, remember when I told you in the beginning that you cannot close the gap with information because it's not held open by information? Well, it was not exactly the whole story. Now, of course, you cannot close the gap by using information that you gathered in order to answer all the questions that you have. But you can use information much more wisely. You can use information to create a pull. So what you do is you learn about the new place, you learn about the new life, you learn about the destination, you gather information as much as you can to make this destination so attractive that at some point of time you cannot not jump. You see, at some point of time, if you continuously picture and visualize what you could go to, if you constantly bring it back up on your radar, if you constantly think about it, you will reach a point of no return. You will reach a point where you have created such a vibrant picture of your future. You have brainwashed yourself so much, and you have, let's say, created such an itch that you can possibly not afford not to do it. And what comes then after you jump? Well, after you jump comes the hard work, but that work and that what comes after is very targeted. As before, information was rather distracting and confusing. Once you make the jump, you will do the information gathering much more specific, much more targeted to help you move forward. So in order to summarize these two things, number one, courage eats confidence for breakfast. And number two, you have to create a picture of your future that is so compelling that you cannot afford not to do it. So I hope that inspired you and it gave you some ideas of how to tackle a situation when you are, at the gap, at the abyss of a decision, of a big change in your life, and you don't feel comfortable, you don't have enough information. Just jump. Take the courage and jump, and things will go well. Thank you very much for watching. Leave me a reaction in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and I'll go out and live a life that is worth copying. Until the next post, all the best.